Welcome to week 32 of One Charcoal Drawing a Week. Unfortunately, I missed last week, but I'm back. This week, I'm continuing pretty much on what I did the week before with the cabin, except this time it's the front. So here I am. I did this in multiple sessions because it took multiple hours to do this drawing. So this first clip I'm showing here, I'm just blocking out the shapes. So here's an example of what I finished with. So you can't really see much, but it's just the blocked out shapes, like very, very light outlines of where everything goes to make sure I have the foundation of the drawing correct. And then here I am going in and trying to do those lines, those long straight lines on the deck, and under the deck. Try and get the things that make the rest of the drawing like a reference point, I guess. I'll show an example up here, like what I do close up, but I just go over lightly, and then I try and go over with the charcoal with a little more pressure. I'm not very good at using the charcoal in long, I don't know if you'd call it strokes, but I guess that's what you'd call it. So most of the time, you'll see here, I'm just doing short strokes like this to try and keep a straight line. I'm sure over time I'll get better with longer strokes, but I find that I just am not as good with doing it like that yet. Hopefully I can eventually do that, because I notice with the short strokes it doesn't always work out the way I want it to, and sometimes it doesn't look straight, or one piece is a little thicker than the other piece. But regardless, I still managed to do okay with the lines. Another thing that I've been using for the past two drawings, which I found has been really good, is sharpening my charcoal. So I'm just using a piece of sandpaper I have. I will in the future. I watch a certain TikTok user. I can't call their name right now. Maybe I'll post them in the description. But they use this sharpening block from a company, like an art supply company. So I think I will buy that in the future. But the sandpaper works okay. It just kind of keeps a lot of the charcoal inside of it. Maybe I need to change the grit. But anyways, it's helping me get those fine lines that where I need them. I'm sure I could also use a charcoal pencil or something like that. But I think this is the way I would like to do it, because then I don't need to switch throughout the process. Here I am using a piece of paper to help me draw a really critical line that I didn't draw during blocking, just to make sure it was good and straight. But at this point, I'm adding small details in. I added a cardboard box that was under the deck. I added it's a towel hanging off one of the railings there. I'm blocking out the door and adding the details here, and I'll charcoal in the inside because we can't see because there's no light. And I'll just show you the reference image here, just because lots of spots are very blown out with light, so we can't really see details. And spots like the top left section of the cabin are very dark, so I also can't see details there. So for some of this, I just kind of had to assume what was there and how it would look. And I think it turned out okay. I didn't really try to get super detailed. There's a bunch of stuff on the front deck. The picture seems to be the day they were leaving, so they had all their stuff ready to go. And I drew the box shapes for the coolers and tried to draw the line for the lid. But I didn't draw more detail than that. I didn't texture it or anything like that, really. So a lot of the details that the reference photo was missing, I didn't really need. So it ended up okay. One thing, despite like seemingly, I believe I did pretty good on the proportions of everything. The right window looks very odd. Even now, like when I look at the reference image, it fits in like that window on the right side. You can see the frame I already have done here. It just looks very small comparatively to the one on the left side. Um, Maybe it is smaller, I'm not sure, but it just seems extremely out of place, I'd say. But that's like the one thing I noticed about the drawing that I didn't really like. The rest of it, I think I did pretty good. Um, Last week, I noticed, like at the end, I normally go in with a piece of chalk to do highlights. But after that, I noticed after I sprayed fixative, the fixative kind of darkened the chalk. Like it made the charcoal show a little more dark through the chalk. So instead of using chalk this week, because I'm going to be applying a fixative, I used an eraser at the end just to remove the charcoal to get those highlights. So that worked really well because about at this point in the drawing, I was kind of feeling like the entire drawing was just like one big blob of charcoal, and details weren't very like visible, I guess. So one thing I did is I did take like I did go back in on like the wooden beams and stuff like that, just to make sure the lines were very dark, lots of charcoal applied. But the thing that I found helped best is going in with that kneaded eraser and applying the highlights to all the sections that are being hit with the light. So you see, I think I'm doing that right now, and that really helped. Like making sure it doesn't just look like a blob of an image with a bunch of charcoal on it, and giving it like depth and stuff like that. So despite spending like the most time on a drawing ever, I don't like this one more than last week. So time is not an indicator into how good a drawing is, I've found so far, but it still turned out pretty great. I really like it. We're coming to the end here. I'm just hitting those final sections with the kneaded eraser to apply those highlights. And then you'll see I'll spray it with fixative. It might be a little too fast to see, but that's it. And I removed the tape. But anyways, here's the reference image one more time, and I'll throw up the drawing. Thanks for watching.